So this is continuation to the variables we have discussed till now. So now what actually we did, we kept all the variables into variables.tf file. So this is all good, but we can see a problem here. See, what if I have multiple environments? So for dev environment, I want to use one configuration. For UAT environment, I want to use another tag, another configuration. For production environment, I want to use another configuration. So for dev going here and modifying this, for UAT going here and modifying this is not a valid option. So what actually Terraform is offering? It's offering something called TFVars. So what actually you can do, you can create a file with name, like I'm going to configure this as a dev TFVars as a file name, and I'm going to put all the dev variables here. I'm going to create another file uat.tfvars. Okay, and I'm going to create one more prdtfvars. Right. So now what I'm going to do from this variable section, okay, so I'm going to take this, okay, what is a region, okay, what is the value you want to give for dev. So you no need to give everything, region is equal to, then you can define, okay, AP South 1 is a region, right? So then from variable, instant type is another variable. So here I'm going to give instant type is equal to. So then what value you want to give? So for example, we can actually, the simplest thing is, okay, we no need to mention any default values here in variable. So I'm going to remove this. Okay, region, I'm going to mention that here. So then second part is from variable, I'm going to pick this entire line. Let me paste it here. In place of this default, what we need to do, we have to give the variable name. So instant type is going to be this. Okay. Next, from variable, again get this default value, and I'm going to give that here. The name we have used is AMI underscore ID is the one we have used, right? So then count, instance count is a variable name, instance count, default I'm going to give 1, and again tags, right? So when coming to these tags, we can just give like a map this, and we no need to give any kind of default option. We can lift this entire thing, and here we can give like a instance. In place of this default, we have to give instant tags, right? So now this is dev TFVars. So what I'm going to do here, dev test or dev TFVars test. Okay, environment is going to be dev. Now for UAT also, I can simply copy this, I can paste same thing here. Important thing is we should not have anything mentioned as a default here under variable. So along with this type and default, if you really want, you can add description. Okay, so we can add something like a description is equal to this is a region. Okay, region to deploy our workload. This is absolutely not mandatory, optional one. It just kind of like a you know a comment for our code blocks. Now, what are the changes you required compared to dev? What are the changes you required on UAT? You do the changes. For example, environment I want to make it as a UAT, and name I want to make it as a UAT. And if you want to change region, if you want to change any configuration, you can actually change that here. And for production as well, you just go here, give it, and you do the changes. Now, with the help of this TFVars, okay, with the help of this TFVars, we are not touching our main.tf. We are not touching variable.tf. Okay, what actually we are doing? Is there any change in the dev? You go to dev file, you do the change. Is there any change in the UAT configuration? You go to UAT file, you do the change. In prod, you go to prod and you do the changes. Okay, so Terraform format, right? These all formatted now. So then how we can apply these changes? Fine, we have all three environment configurations, but how actually we can apply this? So what actually you can do? You can give Terraform plan. You can give hyphen var file is equals to which file, dev.tfvar. You can define that. Okay, then you want to get that output, you can just enter. So now it is going to pick all the values from here and it will try to create the resource. Okay, now yeah, there is no error. Now what actually we can do, instead of this plan, I can give apply, and also we can give auto approve. So now whatever the values we have mentioned here in this dev, it is going to deploy. Okay, so this is pretty good, right? But there is a problem. Now you see here dev TFVars test is now creating. Let's assume once this creation is completed, I'm going to create like a UAT environment. So Terraform apply, okay, hyphen var hyphen file is equals to, so we have UAT TFVars, then I'm going to do the auto approve. Now it is going to rename that existing one. If there is any change in the configuration like a AMI, okay, or any region and all, it is going to terminate this, it is going to create new resources. So obviously for multiple environments using this TFVar is sufficient, but okay, so whenever I deploy UAT, the dev is terminating. When I deployed prod, the previous one is going to terminate. This is not a production standard, right? So that's why we have a concept called workspaces. For example, when I deployed this UAT, so then the dev one is overridden. Now on top of this, if I deploy production, for example, um, this is a UAT one. If I go here and if I deploy this production one, let's assume I want to show you with different AMI so that it is going to delete that dev one and it is going to create a new one. So I'm going to change the AMI. Let's assume, so this production has a different AMI. Okay, so now I'm going to apply this instead of UAT TFVar. I'm going to use this PRD TFVars. Now, okay, it is destroying the UAT one and then it is going to create the production one. So it is not a production grade, right? So deleting an existing one and creating a new one, If it is in same environment, if you are updating, then it is okay. But here my environment is completely different. Okay, one is UAT resources, another one is production resource. So it is not at all recommended to destroy that existing one to create a new one, right? So how we can overcome this? So we can overcome this by using workspace option. So let's see how actually we can create this workspace. Okay, so this UAT1 terminated, then production one is creating, right? So what actually this workspace concept is? See, workspace is isolating environment to environment. It just gives an isolation. See, I can create a workspace for dev. I can create another workspace for UAT and one more workspace for production. So when I want to deploy the dev resources, I can use this dev.tfvars file and I can deploy into that specific workspace. When I want to deploy UAT1, I have to switch to the UAT workspace, then I can deploy. Okay, so currently there is no terraform.tf state.d folder here. Whenever we start creating workspaces, right, we are going to get that here. So currently if I expand Terraform, we have providers, we have tf state, okay, we are using AWS provider, right? But there is nothing like a workspace or tf state.d folder. Okay, so the important thing is it's kind of isolation from environment to environment. And also one more point to mention here. So whenever we are not passing here var file, so it is going to take terraform dot tfvars variable.tfvars file as a default one. Okay, so that's just a point to remember. So now how we can create this? Okay, but before that I will do one thing. I'll destroy terraform destroy. So whenever you want to destroy, if you simply give this terraform destroy, right, it is going to ask you what is the AMI ID, what is the instance count and all. So just cancel it. So what we have to do? So how exactly we have given this apply command, right, with var file. So you have to define this destroy also. Okay, along with this destroy command, you have to pass this var file as well, tfvar file as well, then it is going to destroy the resources. Okay, now this instance is going to terminate. So with direct tfvar files, environment is overriding. To overcome that, let's use this workspace concept. Okay, so currently we don't have any workspaces. So basically, to know the workspace and all, there are some commands. Terraform workspace list is to list the workspace. Okay, by defaultly we are going to get the default workspace, and to create a new workspace we can give terraform workspace new and the name. For example, as per my requirement, I want to create dev, I want to create UAT, I want to create prod workspaces. So fine, how we can choose, to which workspace I want to, or at moment, in what workspace I am in. So we can actually use this terraform workspace show command. It tells us, okay, you are in this in this particular workspace, it is going to display, right? So now how we can directly switch to a workspace which is already available? So we can use this terraform workspace select, then you want to jump to Dev, you can give dev. You want to jump to prod, you can give prod. You can give the workspace name so that you are going to get there. And also to delete, so you can give Terraform workspace delete, then you can give the workspace name. You want to delete dev, you can give. So these are commands. And also couple of things by defaultly, okay, it's the old resource termination completed. Now when I go here, when I paste it, okay, so Terraform workspace list, it is showing just default. All right, so now I just want to see in currently what workspace I am. I can paste it here. So currently I'm in default workspace. Now it's time to create 3 different workspaces for our requirements. Okay, now I created dev workspace, and you see here created and switched. It's not just creating, after creating it is automatically switching. So currently I'm under dev workspace. Now similar way, let's create UAT workspace, and then let's create production workspace. So then to which workspace? So currently in which workspace we are in? Terraform workspace show. You want to see, you can use list. Okay, currently we are in prod. So I just want to switch to dev, and I want to deploy this dev resource. Okay, so for that, so we have to give Terraform workspace select dev. Okay, we have now switched to dev. Now what we can do, we can apply this dev.tfvars. Okay, so the command is Terraform apply. So the regular var file dev.tfvar auto approve. Okay, then click on enter. So now dev instance is going to create, but that instance specifically creates in the workspace we created here. So you should get an EC2 instance here, right? We can see that here dev instance is creating. Fine. Now earlier, whenever we deployed, now on top of dev, whenever we deployed UAT, the dev got overridden with the UAT1. Now I don't want to do that. So what actually I can do? I have to switch to UAT workspace. I now switch to UAT workspace. Then I'm going to deploy this UAT TFVars. Right? So now another instance need to create here, and also it all depends on the setting. For example, when coming to production, instance count is set to 2, then the 2 is going to take effect, and the name also, the tags also, you can go here, the environment tag and the name, it is resembling it. So now we can switch to production. Now I'm switching to PRD. Okay, now under production. So then we can give Terraform apply var file prd.tfvars auto approve. Now for production, it should create 2 instances. You see now? So end of the day, all variables are coming from this prd tfvars only. And if we are not using workspace concept, okay, so the environment is overriding with UAT1 with production, like a dev is overriding with UAT, but now completely isolated. So now how actually we can do the cleanup? So the important point is, if you want to delete any workspace, we should not have any resources inside that workspace. For example, let me try to delete the workspace. Terraform workspace delete. Let me give dev. You see this, what it is saying? Workspace is not empty. Okay, and currently on what workspace I have, um, Terraform workspace show. All right, I'm in prod. Okay, let me Terraform destroy var file prod. I'm actually emptying this prod workspace. Then I'll try to delete. Okay, let's see whether that actually works or not. So basically it is going to throw an error. The reason, okay, whenever you are in dev workspace, you cannot delete the dev workspace. So whenever you are in different workspace, then only you can actually delete the workspace. So deleting workspace directly is not possible. First you have to make it empty, then only you can actually uh, allowed to you are allowed to delete that workspace. So that is a point to note. Right, so the instances, production instances is now shutting down. So destruction completed after 50 seconds. Right, so we have deleted the resources. Oh, still destroying. Okay, it is still shutting down. Now it is terminated. Right. Okay, so now if I try to delete Terraform workspace delete PRD, we are not able to. Basically it is an empty, but we are not able to. Reason, workspace is current workspace, your active workspace, you cannot delete. So you switch to any other workspace. Terraform workspace, select default. Now we are under default, right? So then we can delete this. Terraform workspace delete PRD. So now the PRD workspace deleted. So in similar way, we can empty, we can destroy the UAT like the resources, then you can delete the dev resources, then you can delete the workspace. Okay, all right. So this is how we can isolate the environments, and we can use variables, okay, here in Terraform. All right, I'll stop this topic now. So that's it for this video. See you again in next video. Thank you guys. Hope you are learning Terraform from our videos. And if you feel these videos are valuable, don't forget to share with the DevOps learners, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.